Hello, and welcome to Unexplored Games, a channel dedicated to lesser known or unique board games. Today we're talking about Nanga Parbat, a game by Dr. Steve Finn, probably best known for his game Biblios. I've not played it, so I don't have much to say there. This game, I'm kind of fudging the definition of lesser known here, and really unique since it is just an abstract game. But the theme is what really I think is unique here and is what caught my eye when I saw this game. I have an interest in mountaineering, I do rock climbing, so seeing a game titled Nanga Parbat, which is the 9th highest mountain in the world, really intrigued me. And then on top of that, I noticed that the cover art wasn't just of a climber or of the mountain itself, but of a Sherpa, one of the folks, the native folks who live in those mountainous areas. And they're the porters. They help people bring their gear up the mountains. And in fact, you can't really climb a lot of these mountains without having support, without having Sherpa there to help you up. And they're usually exploited both by the people who are their employers as well as the climbers themselves. A lot of times it's the only job in these mountainous regions, the only job people can really have when they live up there is being a porter. And the employers know that, so they pay poorly. And sometimes the climbers themselves are not treating them very well. There's a documentary I watched recently where some climbers wanted to not pay their porters even though they'd done half the work, and they had like a strike and they were fighting just for pay, and the pay is very low. But anyway, that caught my eye and is why I thought this game was fairly unique. You can see this cover art. Let's see if I can get a good image here. The cover art is pretty as well, which is kind of nice. I like the art here. But yeah, I wanted to mention that I thought the theme was pretty neat because it wasn't about the climbers, but about the people who live there, the native people who live there, doing this pretty dangerous and poorly paid work. But I'll get off my soapbox now and talk about the game itself. It's a fairly simple game. It's an abstract game with this really cool theme slapped on top of it. And the rules are fairly simple, but like a lot of abstract games, it gets pretty deep. It can be pretty deep. The strategy is there and is interesting. There's been a couple times when I was playing and I was sitting there racking my brain going like, oh, I want to do this, but oh, what if I do that? But the rules are really like the four things. Yeah, so each player takes the role of a group of Sherpa. You have the blue player here and the pink player. And they have these hiker components and these camp components, each of their color. And each player takes one of their colors, and the goal is to score along this victory points track. Score the most points. On their turn, a player does 3 things. First, they choose a location to place their hiker, replacing the animal in that location with their hiker. The location that they can place is restricted to where this guide is. So this guide is in area 6. So if it was my turn, the blue player, I would choose a location on area 6, and I would take that animal, replacing it with my hiker, putting this aside, and then placing number 2, second step, placing the guide in this area numbered 3. So we have 1, 2, 3. You can see that on these yellow flags here. I'd place my hiker there, meaning whoever goes next, my opponent, will have to place a hiker and take an animal from that section. Finally, the third thing that you do on your turn is you could eventually place camps. Once you have 3 or more hikers who are adjacent to one another, such as this, and adjacency can also follow these dotted lines, if you can see that white dotted line there. I'm not sure how easy it is to make out in the video. But if you see that, you could then replace your hikers with these camp tokens. Once you do that, those hikers are removed from the game. So you only have a limited number of hikers to place, which is actually how the timing of the game works. Once you run out of hikers, once both players have run out of hikers, the game is over. Whenever you place these camps, you actually score points based on this chart over here. So I've placed camps numbering 1, 2, 3, 4, and I would place my token here on that 5 spot, and I would move 1, 2, 3, 4, There's 5 points, so 5 points. And that's pretty much it. There's one more thing that you can do with these animals. Once you collect them, you put them on your little player mat here, and they do different things. So you can use them to score points. If you notice over here in the left-hand corner, you have unequal. So this means animals that don't match. So in this example here, if I wanted to harvest, let's say I already used these. I'll explain moving down a little bit later. Say I wanted to harvest my animals and I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 animals of different colors, different animals. I would place it on this 5 section and get that 7 points moving my point tracker. Or if I had a bunch of the same animal, so if I had like 5 of these buffalo, I would place it on the 5 equal animal spot right here. One kind of unique thing about this is that once you, let's say I've placed my point marker here, the opponent can't place their marker there. So it effectively restricts them from scoring those exact same points. So like I said, once you score a section, the other player cannot score that exact same number. They'd either have to have more camps or fewer camps and get more points or less points. And if you've blocked them enough and you're like, oh, I've built this many camps, it's impossible for you to get 6 in a row. That player, maybe they were trying to get here, would have to take the fewer points. And that's really where this game shines. Every time that you place a hiker, you have to make a decision, and it changes so many various parts of the game. Let's say, for instance, when I place this pink hiker here on that spot, say the guy goes over here, that determines, okay, this has to go over here to 6. But if your opponent really wants to be over here for whatever reason, say they had a lot of hikers here, the next thing they would do would be to place one of their hikers here and chain it even further or whatever. You don't want that to happen. Another thing you have to keep track of is all of your animals on your board. In order to score your points, you have to have a variety or a bunch of the same animals. So as you're placing, you always have to make this decision. Oh, do I want to place here because it's really good for me? Or do I want to place there because it will force the guide to go over here and therefore screw my opponent's plans up? And sometimes I've sat there sometimes thinking about these thoughts. I'm like, oh man, if I go here, that'll happen, but then she'll move there. And if I go here, then he'll go there. It's just a ton of fun. And it's a pretty quick game. As you can see here, the point trackers, you get, I'd have to look it up, but I want to say like 30 or 40 is the number of points I've gotten. But because it's quick, I kind of sometimes pass up those moments of like, oh, analysis paralysis, or like, oh, I want to do all these things. Oh, I'll just move here because next time I'll win, or I'll play better next time, or I'll use that strategy next time. Like I said, it's an abstract game with this theme tacked onto it. A lot of abstract games are that way. A lot of abstract games have that component of like one thing affecting other things and kind of those thinky kind of moves. And although the abstract the theme is kind of plastered onto this abstract, it's something that I thought was really cool. This theme just like really got me. And this art, I have to show it again because I like it so much. This art is just so neat. With the Sherpa woman here. And that unique theme is the reason I thought I could cover it on this channel. Pretty short game, pretty simple game, pretty short video. So that's Nanga Parbat. I liked it. You can actually get it on Dr. Finn's website. I'll post it in the description of the video. You can play it on Board Game Arena for free. I'll also link that so you can go try it out before you buy it. I got this copy in a math trade at Gen Con. So it doesn't have, there's some objective cards you can play that you can get when you buy it from the Dr. Finn's website. I don't have them, so I can't really speak to them. Having played this a few times, I think it might make things a little bit more interesting. But as is, I like the game. I like it for a half an hour kind of thinky abstract. You can play it at a bar. You can play it with I play it with my wife after dinner sometimes because it's quick and like even if we're doing something else, like you can still play this game. Like I said, that's Nanga Parbat. If you are subscribed to my channel, you may have noticed that it's been about a month since I recorded a video. I initially thought I was going to do this maybe weekly or every other week, but I'm realizing that in order to really play enough games and play them deep enough or recent enough to film videos about, I'll need to take a little bit more time. And I do want to make sure that the videos I'm making are unique games or lesser known games. So there might be a couple weeks where I've been playing Furnace, for instance, which a lot of people have been playing lately and probably making a lot of content about. That's not necessarily, well, that's not even what I want the channel to be. I want it to be more unique or lesser known games. So I'm going to start recording when I feel like I've got content in my head. I'll write it down and then start recording a video about it. So they're going to probably come out sporadically, which that's what I'm going to do. The next video I have in the queue is going to be most likely Adventures of Robin Hood by, I don't remember the game company who made it, by the Operational Studies Group. Once I get my wife to play that with me enough, I'll be able to make a video about it. So for now, thanks for watching.